Hey guys, welcome to the new overview for Young Justice Season 4. This episode was titled The Tale of Two Sisters. Now, if you don't know what an overview is, I decided instead of doing reviews like most people do, I decided that I'm assuming that you've already watched the show, so just breaking down every little element of the show and trying to break down all the technical things and to critique every little moment. It's not something I really want to do with this. I think people like to talk about the things they love, and if you enjoy Young Justice, then this is probably the conversation to have with me. And I hope you partake in that, because not many people that I know actually watch this show, so I actually need people like you to have these conversations with me. So the purpose of this is that when I do an overview, I just go over some of the things that have happened in the show, and I just talk about some of the things that spoke to me and, daily life, the things that we can relate to in the show, and speculation and, and just geeking out moments. So anyway, hopefully you enjoy that type of stuff, and hopefully you write in the comments and tell me some of the things that you thought about this episode. So anyway, let's get into it. So I'm really happy that at the very beginning of the episode, one, I'm happy about two things. I'm happy that Artemis is going to be the next character that we kind of follow. That's the first thing. The second thing is I'm glad that when she finds out that Connor is dead, that she gets to hear the news from her peers. It seems that, the original cast is very special, and I'm happy that Nightwing and Aqualad were a part of kind of being there for her to let her know that Superboy passed. To me, that's super important, and so I'm glad that she was there for that. The reason I'm happy that we're getting to follow her now is because for me, I guess it reminds us of two things. One, it reminds us of the weight of Wally passing away, but then it still holds that weight that reminds us is like, yeah, that weight just feels even more heavy now that Connor's dead. Now, I don't think Connor's dead. I used to not think Wally's dead, but I don't know. I don't think he's dead either, but I think one's trapped in the Speed Force, and I think the other one is into the future, but that is neither here nor there. But, man, they think Connor's passed away. Speak to this real quick. I enjoy the fact how they handle their budget issues, but I am going to continuously call out the budget issues for one reason. One, to compliment how Greg Weisman and Brandon Vietti and the writers and the directors and all of them handle the budget restrictions, because I think they do things very well, and they actually find ways to expand the story rather than to cause harm to it. But the other reason I'm going to call out the budget issues is to please recommend to HBO Max to give these people more money. If you give them more money and they can level up their game, you'll have something that could equate and level up to something like Invincible or a lot of the animes that are out from Japan that we watch, to level up to that level of art that I know that this show could do and be freaking awesome. Because if they can do cool stuff with budget restrictions, I wonder what they could do without those restrictions. So give these guys more money. So anyway, so that whole scene where they're kind of jumping from different things to different things, kind of showing her dealing with grief. I'm curious about the dude that she was having a picnic with that was clearly worried about how disinterested she was in him at that moment. So I'm curious about that. I am digging the new Nightwing look because I'm pretty positive that costume is like more accurate to the original look, so without the bird. Even though I prefer the bird logo, it's still cool because they've already done it. It's cool to see just the V kind of look. So that was cool. And then going back to the statues of Kid Flash and Superboy now next to him. It hurts your heart, but it was still really cool to see. So there's that. Okay, already called out the budget thing. So now we're getting into the plot of the episode. So we're watching, we see that Artemis is leaving her house and she is going to the school. She walks into the library, and this character that we didn't know of, named Onyx. I'm going to have to look at who Onyx is. I'm not really sure who Onyx is. If she's from the comics, I'm assuming she is. But she seems to want to attack her, but it turns out that maybe so, but maybe not, that wasn't her possible intention, because she ends up getting attacked by Arrowette and Arsenal, and they end up taking her down, and she explains that, hey, Savage, his daughter's coming, and she's going to act like she's on your side. Don't listen to her. Don't believe it. She's lying. And I'm very curious to see which one's lying, because both say each other are lying. I think in some ways it'd be funny if both are telling the truth and they're both good. But in other ways, I hope that's not the case, and I hope one of them actually is lying and actually is bad. But I guess we'll have to see. We already have plenty of new characters, and I think there was some cool characters they introduced that we may never even see again because there's so many characters. So, hopefully if one of them turns good, hopefully one of them stays bad, because we still need new bad villains, I think, more so than we need more new heroes. So, I dug that. I dug that whole plot, and I also like the fact that we're adding new, for example, the very first 4 episodes we had Miss Martian, Superboy, and Beast Boy. And they introduced new characters, cool. But I'm excited for the fact that the next 4 episodes seems to be Artemis, Arsenal, Arrowette, and Orphan. And I'm glad those are probably the heroes that we're going to be following in the next 4 or so episodes. Hopefully. With maybe some sprinkles of different characters like Red Arrow, Nightwing, a few others. I like that because I feel like not only does it allow us to focus on the characters that we probably want to focus on the most, it still gives us that chance to experience time with those other characters that we really care about. So I think that's awesome. Let's see. Ooh, yeah, this is a fun part. So let's start talking about Cheshire. Okay. I am glad to see Cheshire again. And we're going to transition this in a second, but just to get the nerd stuff out of the way, love seeing Damien, now seeing him a little older, and love seeing Red Hood. I am curious if we're ever going to see Red Hood in the original Red Hood look, but I'm cool with the look they give him. I think it's awesome. Totally fine with it. And I'm glad to see Damien, and especially to see him older. Hopefully we'll get enough seasons to one day see him as Robin. Who knows, but I enjoyed it. So, to get that part out of the way, to say this, I actually really liked the conversation that Talia and Cheshire had, and having the question of which mother's right. Now, we could kind of see maybe foreshadowing that maybe Cheshire is right to leave your kid be. If you can't stay out of crime, you can't stay out of that danger, maybe it's best to leave your kid be instead of having them involved in the danger itself. That said, though, I think the best solution would be just to be a good mother and to give up your bad ways and turn to good. But we know that Talia nor Cheshire probably will ever do that, but we hope. And having that conflict, I think both sides probably, one side will probably feel pretty guilty about that. I don't know if Talia will necessarily feel guilty about that. I think she has other intentions, but it's still cool to see that conflict and that conversation about who's actually the better parent, the one that stays involved even though they continue to do bad things, or the one that decides to back away because they know they can't stay away from the bad things. I don't know what the right answer is, but it's an interesting conversation. The next thing that I loved, I like the fact that when they're trying to decide what to do with Onyx and Savage, I'm trying to remember her name, Cassandra. Okay, when they were trying to decide what to do with Cassandra, Savage, and Onyx, I like the fact that a lot of them will call out certain decision making based off their own experience, because one says, well, they can't be trusted because they're just like this. But then someone else goes, well, I was just like that. So does that mean you can't trust me? And it kind of challenges each other and motivates each other to come to maybe a more peaceful or a better resolution. And we don't know what that resolution is yet, but I am curious to find that out. And I think lastly, two things. One, we know they're going to take the fight to the shadows. So I'm curious what villains are going to be involved with that and who are all going to be a part of that. I'm hoping to see an interaction between Orphan and Lady Shiva. Since Lady Shiva is her mother, I'm ready to see that type of interaction and see what comes of that. But I'm also excited just to see if we're going to see different characters again and possibly even see maybe Red Hood or someone else show up. That'd be pretty awesome as well. The last thing I guess we'll hit on is the end credit scene. And the end credit scene, seeing Nightwing and Calder looking at the lights, I guess. I don't know what you call them. It's not a statue, but the reflections of Kid Flash and Superboy. And just sitting there, just looking at it, because it's like, you know what? They've been through a lot, and they just have to realize they've just lost like two of their best friends that they've known forever. So it's sad. I'm sure there's plenty of fans that were crying, but enough about what I thought about it. What did you guys think about it? Guys, like I said, write in the comments. Let me know. I want to nerd out about your favorite moments of the show. What were the things that spoke out to you? I'm sure a lot of them are very similar to the things that spoke out to me. So anyway, guys, much love, and I hope you guys are having a great day, night, or whatever. Anyway, guys, have a good one.